It's now been about 642 days since those hostages were first taken. A number are still there. Can you tell me anything about their condition and what it's been like for them?
Well, it's been hell. We had 255 hostages that were taken, grandmothers and their grandchildren, Holocaust survivors, babies.
And now, if you want, like, oh, S.E.T, why did Hamas even take the hostages? Well, Hamas thought that they were going to be able to get some of their hostages back that Israeli enforcement done locked up kids, women with no charges, no court date, no due process, just locked their ass up. And Hamas is like, well, maybe we take some of your guys, you'll get back some of ours. And this is kind of why Israel has this whole dead hand initiative, because they know that, well, for one Jewish life, they're going to have to give up a whole bunch of Palestinians. And here's the thing. There's no guarantee that they're not also giving up, well, one, giving up women and children, I'm cool with, but then giving up Hamas soldiers or, you know, the military age men that go back to fight. Now that is a problem. And I do got to call that out.
Murdered quite a few of them, but we got most of them out. We got 205 out, 147 of them alive. We have 50 left, 20 definitely alive, and some 30 that are not alive. And I want to take them all out. We now have a deal that supposedly will get half of the living and half of the dead out. And so we'll have 10 living left and about 12 deceased hostages. But I'll get them out too. I hope we can complete it in a few days.
You know, as I hear you talk about we're going to get half of them out, and I think to myself, the first thing is the cruelty of Hamas, which, I mean, I don't want to...
Hey, and shout out to Laughable Panda. It hurts to know that some don't do their research. I mean, that is the fact of the matter. And trust me, when it comes to this whole Israel and Gaza stuff, I try to be as unbiased as possible. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, and a lot of people speak on this from lack of knowledge. And I mean, like, I think there's a good example of why would you want peace with a country that murders your people, women, and children and wants to wipe your kind off the face of the earth? Well, my man, you would actually have to look into the truth of the Palestinian and Israeli conflict going all the way back to 1948. And you tell me, if you kick people off their land and then continue persecuting and killing them, what attitude you think they're going to have towards you? I'm just saying, like, let's just keep it real. Not that I support what Hamas is doing at all. No, I don't support October 7th. But I can see the forces that pushed them to October 7th.
Of course, you know that everybody knows it, but the idea is that they're using these humans as they have historically, and they're only giving them half, and they've been 642 days. And
but I will be real with you guys. I don't think this ceasefire is going to happen because now Hamas, there's two things they want Hamas to do. Release the hostages. Hamas shown they're okay with doing that. But then the second part is what's kind of like, you know, the trip up. They want Hamas to de-arm. Yes, to give up their guns, their weapons, just de-arm. And I mean, if they look back at Gaddafi and see how that worked out for that man, I think they're going to be hitting us with the, well, yeah. So I don't think they're going to be going for that. I mean, and then that just might start up the war all over again. Because let's be real, every time there's been a ceasefire, well, Israel's broken that ceasefire just like they did with Lebanon about a couple weeks ago.
Making them suffer and their families.
Well, they're monsters. I mean, what they do to them and the stories we get are horrible. So obviously we are, you know, it's not easy for us when we're doing it. We'll probably have a 60-day ceasefire, get the first batch out, and then use the 60 days to try to negotiate an end to this. And this could end tomorrow. Today, Hamas lays down its arms, okay? We eliminate it as a fighting force and a governing force in Gaza that oppresses its people, targets our people, our civilians, and uses their civilians as human shields. And then they complain that the civilian losses are...
You know, the human shield argument, I stopped hearing that argument when I found out that they bombed 34 buildings and they said, well, Hamas was hiding in them. I'm like, and then actually I really stopped believing it when they said, oh, when I found out they eliminated 70% of Gaza, leveled 70% of Gaza. And then they say, well, you know, Hamas was hiding behind it. So Hamas was hiding in the house, in the store next to it, and the building next to that, and the building next to that. And they was hiding in all 34 hospitals. Like, bruh, at a certain point, you're going to have to start proving this to us. We just can't go off the, oh, well, Hamas is using human shields. I'm like, bro, let international reporters in there and show us that. Show us something instead of just saying, oh, they're using human shields, and all we get is a whole bunch of dead civilians and women and children. Like, what? Like, sorry, the excuse is just not hitting the same.
Because of us. No, we say to the civilians, leave. Leave the war zone. You know, we send them text messages, telephone calls, millions, pamphlets. And Hamas says, you don't go. You try to leave the war zone, we'll shoot you. And they shoot them because they want the pictures of dead civilians that they are causing put on Israel's head. And that's what you get.
I mean, the dead civilians that they're causing put on Israel's head. I mean, bro, Hamas is not flying Israeli planes, or it is not flying. Yeah, they're not flying Israeli planes and dropping bombs. Hamas is not behind the guns that the Israelis shoot. I mean, it's the IDF. I mean, I don't even know how you make that work, G. But I get what he's saying, though, by this. He's like, oh, well, the reason why we're bombing them and some of our people are getting hurt, well, this is what Hamas wants to do. They want to create a bad picture of Israel. Then why are you feeding into Hamas? I always did say, I mean, you could easily did a surgical strike on these guys, went in boots on the ground without having to bomb entire buildings on the grounds that these civilians were or Hamas is hiding behind civilians. I mean, when you bombed the school, was that it? Was Hamas there? Like Rafa, you know, like, oh, Hamas was there. Oh, now you're shooting at them while they're trying to get food. Why? Oh, because Hamas is there? Because Hamas is just hiding behind these guys. But I ain't never seen Hamas hiding behind one of these people. And I want to believe y'all, but you ain't showing me nothing. So right now, it just looks like y'all bombing Palestinians for the hell of it.
TikTok and the social media. Israel is deliberately killing civilians. No, we're not. Hamas is deliberately killing its own people, preventing them from escaping the war zone. So they're monsters.
Oh. And I do want to answer this question. He said, no Arab country will not want. Egypt does not take Hamas, or I'm sorry, but Egypt don't take a Palestinians. One, Egypt is suffering from overpopulation. So even if you wanted to put them in them UN camps, those Palestinians cannot get any resources because they're in overpopulation. That means there's a scarcity of resources for that said population of Egyptians. So they, even though they can afford to shelter the Palestinians, they wouldn't be able to feed said Palestinians. And here's the wild part. Now they're trying to force Egypt to take them in with this overpopulation problem, which means the Palestinians would just be sitting there starving in UN camps, barely being able to get really any food. I mean, and then Jordan, well, Jordan don't take them because they're paid off. They're paid for by us in Israel. Let's be real. And then the only country to actually stand up for the Palestinians is, well, was it Yemen, Iran, you know, those who haven't completely sold out to Israel or who accept Israel as a state, which I believe that all of the Middle East should, or all the Middle East shouldn't. Like they should probably be on one page to actually have peace in the Middle East. And it does kind of seem like it's either we're going to make all these guys respect Israel or these guys are just going to dogpile on Israel one day. It all depends on how we take it with them or our military aggression in the future.
But they've taken hostages. Who else has taken hostages? Well, how about the Iranian regime? You know, the Islamist regime, when they first formed their vile tyranny, what's the first thing they did? They took American hostages in the American embassy. Remember that?
In 1979.
Yeah, well, this is part of the Iranian doctrine. This is part of the Iranian evil axis. They take hostages. They try to extort with blackmail, terror, and intimidation the free societies like Israel and the United States. And we face them down and we'll beat them. We just did.
Well, you know, it's an easy answer to end.
No, most definitely, though. Israel definitely beat Hamas. It's just the whole hostage situation and getting them to de-arm. And sadly, Hamas ain't giving up. Because, like, even what was it? Like, well, I think it was about 2 days ago. I think 5 Israeli soldiers was taken out. But 100 Palestinians were killed the day before that.
This for Hamas. First of all, I shouldn't have done it on October 7th. That's for starters. Secondly, had they surrendered, if they surrendered, but they won't surrender. They don't surrender.
You think so? There are Palestinians now who are fighting Hamas because we weakened them to this point.
Oh, no, that is actually true. There has been a new militant trying to topple Hamas in Gaza. No, we'll get right back to this man here, and let's go ahead and get over to first post. Let's take the geopolitical spin here, guys. New threat to Hamas rule in Gaza. Yeah, militant steps out from shadows. So I'm pretty sure they're probably supported by us. They're either funded by us, Israel, maybe CIA influence or helped or whatever, because, you know, some militant force stepping out of nowhere when I'm like, bro, where the F was y'all day one? But all right, here we are. New turf war looms in Gaza. But now Gaza is about to be shifted into a civil war because we're over here funding their enemies, most like. Oh my, you know what? 70-30. I'm 70% sure that that we are in some way funding this new militant group to try to topple Hamas, and now we're basically about to start a war out there. A civil war. I'm sorry, a civil war.
Gaza has been reduced to rubble, but even amid the debris and deaths, a turf war is unfolding. A new group is challenging the Hamas, a militia called the Popular Forces. That's what this group is called, Popular Forces. They're said to have some 300 fighters in their ranks. What's more, they have Israeli support. But will it be enough to topple the Hamas, to end their rule over Gaza? For starters, there is not much to end. The January ceasefire gave the Hamas a chance to regroup, but since the ceasefire ended, it's been relentless. 95% of their senior leaders are dead.
Yeah, I mean, bro, Israel is top notch, bro. They are top notch when it comes to taking out anybody on like any leadership. They've taken out Hezbollah's leadership with the pagers. They took out Iranians' leadership. They took out Hamas's leadership. I mean, shout out Israel. I'll tell you this, bro. They don't go for the small guys. They hit you at the top.
Top military.
Well, the Mossad, really, because it's really the Mossad who gets them the information on where these leaders are at. Because apparently we knew where the Ayatollah was at during the, bombing of Iran, or when Israel bombed Iran.
Commanders of the Hamas have been killed. They have lost control over 80% of Gaza, so Hamas is on its last leg. They don't have the men or the organization to rule anymore. In their place, multiple gangs have emerged. One of them is being touted as a successor to Hamas, the Popular Forces. This group mainly operates in Rafah. It is led by a man named Yasser Abu Shahab. He used to smuggle drugs into Gaza. Before October 7th, he had been jailed.
So a drug smuggler. So somebody who smuggled drugs into Gaza is standing up to Hamas. So what the hell, man? Why does it sound like the cartel trying to take over the government or something? We're about to trust the drug smuggler overruling Gaza? Oh, okay. And then when October 7th happened all over again, we're going to act surprised, right?
By the Hamas. He says he's not party to any conflict. He says he's not a professional fighter. Instead, his goal is to protect Gazans from Hamas looting. That's what he says. His goal is basically to end Hamas rule.
Okay.
But can he do it? Well, Abu Shahab spoke to Israeli TV recently. He said he was coordinating with Israel. The Popular Forces, his group, later denied that such an interview ever took place.
Yeah, somebody's paying for them. No, somebody's definitely paying for. How the hell is Hamas over there in rags and AKs, and your ass got full military equipment, headgear on, you got the vest and all that good stuff, nice little guns. Yeah, you're being paid for. You're funded but by who though? It's either us or somebody else.
The Popular Forces, his group, later denied that such an interview ever took place. But the game is pretty evident. Israel is propping up this group, and it's an old strategy. In Lebanon, Israel propped up Christian militias. In Gaza, they propped up the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yep.
In both cases,
I mean, yeah, that's all. That's crazy. Like, we prop up the guys who just attack us later. It's like, when will we learn our lesson?
The goal was the same: create new power centers to weaken your rivals. In Gaza, Israel wanted to weaken the Palestinian Authority, hence they supported the Muslim Brotherhood. But that same Muslim Brotherhood morphed into Hamas.
Yes, it
Years
did.
later, they're doing it again.
Yeah, after Benjamin Netanyahu gave Hamas $1 billion in U.S. money, cold dollars, sent them a car full of cash in U.S. money, so they could have used that and bought weapons anywhere in the world because we are the world currency. I mean, well, shout out to us. It's a good and bad thing sometimes. Well, in that matter, it was.
Israel wants to get rid of Hamas rule in Gaza, so they're propping up a new group, a rival they hope will be better. There is certainly a chance to make this work. Arab countries and the US are looking for an alternative to the Hamas. The Popular Forces is one such alternative, one that is also acceptable to Israel. Plus, Hamas is losing support among Gazans. They were never very popular to begin with. But this endless war has only made things worse. Like I said, multiple gangs have popped up across Gaza. All of them have a score to settle with Hamas. If the popular forces can unite them, who knows? Maybe they can pull off a coup. But this plan carries risk for both sides. For Israel, the risk is obvious. Last time they tried something similar. They ended up creating Hamas.
Yeah, I mean, and now we got a whole bunch of gangs rising up out of there. Now we might be have to dealing with 4 people who are basically like Hamas. And then who's to say that these guys I mean, don't hate Israel as much as Hamas or at the same level? That's the problem with, I mean, funding these guys, because obviously they're funded, and by who knows, but their gear is very telling. The fact that they got this nice high gear stuff and Hamas is out here in rags and stuff, it's very telling.
What if they repeat that mistake again? What if this group, the popular forces, grows into another Hamas? That is a clear risk for Israel. For the popular forces, the risk is domestic. Israel has killed more than 55,000 civilians in Gaza, 55,000 civilians. Yes, Hamas is unpopular there, but Israel is public enemy number 1. So if Israel supports this group, if Israel supports the popular forces, will Gazans stand behind them? Or will they see this group as the enemy's puppet? Clearly, that's a concern already. As things stand, a lot depends on the ceasefire. There's a flurry of diplomacy happening. US President Donald Trump is hopeful of a ceasefire maybe this week or next.
Well, we're talking about Gaza for the most part. I think we have a chance this week or next week. Not definitely. There's nothing definite about war and Gaza and all of the other places that we all deal with so much.
A ceasefire would give Hamas some time, some breathing space to regroup and rebuild. If not, Israel will continue to pound them, and Hamas will keep losing leaders and firepower.
No, that's true though. I mean, that is most definitely true. Like, they dwindled the Hamas numbers low enough to where they're now okay with doing surgical strikes, which I wish that Israel would have done in the beginning to avoid all this useless, bloodshed of citizens. Then, I mean, like I said, nobody would be able to complain about that. Honestly, nobody would be able to complain on Israel if they did a surgical strike and not just bomb buildings. Like, let's be real.
We see something that never
No
happened
judgment.
before.
Even if they did take out citizens.
Okay. Palestinians in Gaza are fighting Hamas. Palestinians in Gaza are defying Hamas. Palestinians in Gaza are saying, we don't want them. We don't want to be tyrannized and subjugated by these monsters. Well, that didn't happen before. And
I mean, here's the thing, though. I never heard Palestinians say that. That's what kills me. I hate when people's like what really the Israelis, they like to speak for, the Palestinians, they hate their leader. I know you say the same thing with Iran. You say the same thing with Yemen. You say the same thing with every Arab country you don't like. They don't like their leader. We need to free them. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not believing that no more. Unless I'm hearing the Palestinians say, oh, yeah, down with Hamas, down with Hamas. I'll believe it then, but not coming out of, Bibi's mouth.
we think we can bring it to completion. So I wouldn't tell you that we have a war goal that is unachievable. Nobody believed we could do what we did to Iran. Nobody believed that President Trump and I would cooperate in this extraordinary way and get the full might of America, its extraordinary pilots,
I do hope it's true, though, because if they're able to stop Hamas, then Israel has no reason to attack. If they topple Hamas, that's it. That's the end of the war. So I hope that's the case, but they always do feed us a story going like, well, the people want them gone anyway. Like, we're actually helping these people out. And in actuality, I mean, they actually are okay with their leader. We put them in the leader they really hate, and then we get faced with a civil war later on down the line. I mean, we did it in Iran, and that ain't work out so well. Like, trust me, guys, us inserting leaders never work. We did it in Haiti, and look what happened in Haiti. Now they're eating each other. I mean, that was a pretty wild jump from having a leader. They rebel against the leader moves out, leader damn near runs off to Europe, and now the whole country's in anarchy. It's like, hey, this is what happens when you just insert rulers or insert government officials in countries that they didn't choose themselves.
might of our brave soldiers, our brave pilots joined together, and look what we accomplished. So I tell you, it's not just a way of speaking, a manner of speaking. We're going to defeat these monsters, and we'll get our hostages back.
You mentioned President Trump. You have been prime minister through a lot of presidents: President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, President Trump. Now, is it different for you personally? Is it different for Israel?
It's extraordinary. We've never had such a friend, such a supporter of Israel, the Jewish state, in the White House. President Trump has been, what can I tell you? Tremendous. I mean, and the cooperation is tremendous. Look at what our cooperation produces. Look at what happens when there's no daylight between an American president and an Israeli prime minister. We roll back the greatest threat to to both our countries. Iran is trying to build nuclear weapons. We stopped it in the nick of time. Those nuclear weapons were to be equipped on ballistic missiles that certainly wreak havoc in Israel now without nuclear weapons.
Really?
But they're aimed to be intercontinental ballistic missiles that could reach this city, this house, and New York, and Philadelphia, and Miami, and Mar-a-Lago. They actually put a price on President Trump's head and mine. You see this? This is what happened.
I mean, there's no proof of that, actually. There's no proof that Iran tried to put out a hit on Trump. It's just something that they keep on saying to rile up the public.
In the last 2 days, and issued a religious fatwa, a decree that says that we have to be assassinated. These are enemies of the United States. Iran says death to America, death to Israel. America is the great Satan. Israel is a small Satan, but we stand in their way. They want to develop the means of.
Now, to give the Iranian perspective on that, now, during Tucker Carlson's interview with the Iranian president, he says that when the people of Iran say death to America, they are saying death to apartheid, death to proxy war, death to foreign influence. And since America does all that, death to America. Now, if you want to believe this, that's up to you. I do not blame you for believing that they believe death to all Americans. I don't blame you for thinking that. But coming from the Iranian president, I'm just telling you what that man said. And, well, he pretty much means death to America means death to all of the egregious things that we've done throughout time in the Middle East. And I can hear that out.
Mass death, atomic bombs, and the means to deliver them to every theater near you. That's what they're trying to do. And we stopped them. We rolled back this grave menace to our survival by a regime that has these monstrous proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah, whom we beat too.
And the Houthis.
And the Houthis, we haven't finished. We've got a job to do.
No, the Houthis.
But I can tell you that America started something.
No, the Houthis is a different, bro. They have a different level of hatred for the Israelis. No, you think Iran does not hate Israel compared to the Houthis. These guys do anything in their power to make things tough for Israel. Anything. They don't care how petty it is. They'll do it. If it just stops them just by a smidge, they'll do it. They're petty. It's almost respectable, but the problem is there are problems too, and it kind of was causing problem with shipping routes. So they definitely need to be taken care of. The problem is, though, did us bombing the shit out of the Houthis really help? Since they're back to business as usual, did we really do anything at that point? I'm confused.
We'll finish it, and I think the important thing is to understand that what we're doing is achieving a common doctrine that President Trump and I both hold to. It's called peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes the peace. And just as we cooperated on getting the Abraham Accords, peace between Israel and 4 Arab countries, now after the victory over Iran, we'll need to maintain that victory, prevent Iran from trying again to restart nuclear weapons from scratch, but we have to prevent them. But also move to realize the potential for peace in our region because of our victory, because of our strength. Peace through strength. There are several countries waiting in the wings. We're working on making those peace agreements possible.
Syria is a possibility, maybe. Syria, I mean, has Syria changed? Or is there a likelihood of that? I mean, that certainly has had a change since in the last 6 months.
Well,
Yeah, we got the Russian-backed leader Assad out of there, and now we got, well, what was this guy? He's an ex-member of Al-Qaeda. Yes, we got an ex-member of Al-Qaeda now running Syria, and we done dropped the sanctions. We're cool with bro now. Yeah, he's a cool guy. After he done ran Al-Qaeda for a little bit, he done jumped over to Syria, and now all of a sudden he's been washed of all his sins. Somehow, some way.
Syria and Lebanon were both governed by Iran and its proxies Hafiz Assad, a dictator, horrible dictator in Syria, and Hezbollah in Lebanon. We defeated Hezbollah. We eliminated Nasrallah, their murderous and fanatic leader.
See, now they said that they defeated Hezbollah, but then why did y'all use bunker bombs against Hezbollah? Then why'd you literally break the ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel, and you went over there and bombed Hezbollah or Lebanon because Hezbollah was rebuilding their military underground base. Now, to be honest with you, that's not a bad reason to attack them. I'll give it to them. I'm be real with you. If I was to figure that out, I was BB, I'd have been like, oh yeah, oh hell no. But he did break the ceasefire by doing that. And that probably be like the second to third ceasefire this man's broke.
That collapsed Lebanon and enabled a change of government for the first time in decades. And it also collapsed the Assad regime because Hezbollah was supporting Assad. It wasn't that there was a Syrian army. There wasn't. Every time Assad faced his enemies inside Syria and he was in distress, it wasn't his soldiers that were fighting. It was Hezbollah. Nasrallah would send thousands of Hezbollah fighters to rescue Assad. So when we took out Nasrallah, we actually collapsed the Assad regime. And that collapsed the Iranian noose of death around us. They had these proxies around us that were supposed to invade us simultaneously. And that didn't happen. So now they saw, okay, we can't eliminate Israel with the noose of death because we broke the axis of terror. So let's rush to nuclear weapons. That's why we had to act in time.
What took so long?
For them?
No, for you. I mean, this is not, it isn't like Israel.
Here's the problem. Iran has 60% uranium for a minute now. Enriched 60% uranium. They've been able to create a bomb for a while now. Problem is they haven't. And if Iran really wanted to attack us, they had a perfect 4-year window under Biden. And you're like, Seth, what do you mean? I'm like, think about it. The border was open. Just send an Iranian in with a backpack and a dirty bomb and go to a city and go to a major city and blow yourself up. And boom, a nuclear attack on United States ground. Now, would we ice them? Would we glass them overnight? Of course. But I'm just saying though, if Hamas was just as not Hamas, but if Iran was as suicidal and as vicious as they say they are toward the United States, then why didn't they take that 4-year window to take a lot of us out? Honestly, they could have hit 4 major cities and it had just been, oh well. And it had been because of Biden, because, well, the border was open. And you don't think that there are already Iranians that went from Iran that came through our border? There are. I believe there are about 100,000 Iranians in here that made it through Biden's border. So who knows? But I'm just saying, if they wanted to do that, I mean, they had a smooth 4-year window they could have took advantage of.
We got into a dangerous neighborhood on October 7th of 2023. I mean, this has been going on. The terrorism has been going on for an awful long time.
Well, it's not only the terrorism, it's a threat of annihilation. I've been speaking about
Well, that's part of the charter of, the Hamas charter is the annihilation.
No, I wasn't talking about Hamas. Hamas is the proxy. Hamas is the cat's paw. Okay, you cut away the cat's paw, but there's still a cat. Yep. And the cat or tiger, it could devour you. It's Iran. You remember, there's one thing to understand, it's Iran.
Oh,
Iran wants to destroy it's Iran.
See, and it is funny though, because they are surrounded by Lebanon don't like them too much. Well, Lebanon don't like them too much. West Bank, I mean, they're slowly taking over the West Bank. Let's be real. They've damn near completely taken over West Bank and they're about to finish off of Gaza. And then they got new settlements going on in the Golan Heights, which is part of Lebanon. I think it's actually Syria, part of Syria that they took. So, yeah, I mean, the only people that are really expanding their borders is Israel. But, they want to get this whole greater Israel off and take this whole little region right here for themselves, and prophecy shall be fulfilled.
Iran wants to destroy the United States. It's a cult, a death cult, and it says death to America. Israel's merely in their way, okay? They want to conquer the Middle East first. The only country that is fighting Iran in the Middle East is Israel, up to recently. The only country. We have to eliminate Israel. And in order to do that, they said we either do it through this noose of death or with atomic bombs. And for decades, you've heard me say this because we've known each other for many years. I said the greatest danger facing Israel and America is a fundamentalist Islamic regime with nuclear weapons, because they will be unlike other nuclear powers. They'll use it. And if they have the weapon to destroy Israel, they will. And if they have missiles to carry that weapon here, they will. Could they conceivably bomb American cities? And the answer is yes. That's not likely to happen with other nuclear powers in the world. But that is not true of these fanatics, okay? They see it as a...
Well, you've been saying that
Now, as much as we don't want Iran to have a bomb, we didn't push them towards a bomb most likely. And the reason I say that is because, well, we didn't introduce to the world a switch or a and B option here. We didn't introduce an A and B option to the world. Is either A, you have nukes and you got some respect on the global stage, or B, you have no nukes and you get bullied or pushed around by countries who do have nukes on the global stage. It's A or B. Who do you want to be? If you were a country, wouldn't you just rush towards nukes? Wouldn't you see how Iran got done? I mean, I'm surprised people didn't do it when Gaddafi got killed the way he did. So, yeah, I think we actually pushed Iran further towards a nuke, unless we're just about to topple the whole regime and just confirm that that will never happen. But 9 times out of 10, no, not 9 times out of 10, I'll give it 60%, 60%. They may actually go towards that nuclear weapon because of our attack and because they feel like they can no longer trust us to negotiate in good faith.
remember you speaking before the UN a number of years ago. So you've been saying it for a year,
Yes,
year
and now
after-
what took it so long, right?
Yeah, what I mean, like, yes, was it that the world just wasn't behind you, or didn't feel the threat, or what was it? Well, you're still doing it alone, pretty much, with the United States.
It's worse. I mean, the world, many countries oppose us, including others who thought they could make a deal with Iran. There's one problem with that. They cheat, they lie, and they develop the weapons on the side. And
Like
people are supposed to close up.
Hold on, bruh. I mean, BB, you can't get mad about a country that you don't like having a secret nuclear program when you yourself have a secret nuclear program. And here's the thing. We don't know if Iran got a nuke. We know you guys got nukes. We know for a fact you guys got a nuke. So it is pretty hypocritical to sit there and be like, well, they got a bomb and all this good stuff. Well, here's the thing. Iran knows that you hate them and they know you got a nuke. So why wouldn't Iran also arm themselves with one? How about this? Why don't y'all both disarm y'all nukes? Y'all both give up y'all nukes and let's see what happens after that.
Blind eye and allow them to do that while paving their way to a nuclear arsenal with billions and billions of dollars,
Right.
which they use not to build Iran, not for the benefit of the great Iranian people whom they subjugate. They build terror axis with it. They build ballistic missiles to hit us and ultimately to hit you. So I think that was misconceived. And of course, I didn't get support. I got much opposition. And I had to also galvanize opposition within Israel, galvanize rather support within Israel, because people say, how do you hit Iran? Iran's a big country. I mean, it's a huge country. It's like 90 million people. It's like the size of a good chunk of Europe. It's big. It's got these lethal weapons that they can bomb our cities with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to take out.
See, I never thought that way, because I mean, when you see the sophistication of Israel, like, look at the pagers. I mean, killing. I mean, that was.
No, I mean, like, Israel definitely has a way more sophisticated army. It's just the sheer size of Iran. It's like they kind of need us to low-key do something there. If they was to go toe-to-toe with Iran on a battle of nutrition, like, Iran was definitely going to win that without American support. Now, with American support, I mean, I guess with American support, almost any war is winnable.
A sophisticated operation. I know that Israel's tiny and Iran is big, but not to make this sound like a game, but you so have outsmarted so many people over the years militarily and in wars that I never saw that as that the fact that it was big and you were little.
I'm be real with you. We can't say outsmarting when Israel just fakes a deal. Israel literally fake, like, all right, we can have a kumbaya moment. All right, we'll get the Palestinians a two-state solution. We'll go ahead and disarm, but all right, peace in the Middle East. Then behind closed doors, they're like, yeah, we're about to bomb the shit out. But bro, we just talked about peace. Yeah, I know, but we're gonna bomb the crap out of them. Clean break initiative, baby. And that's what they went with.
Well, it's also the fact that when you're small in your size, we're bigger than Rhode Island. I can say that. But
It takes 6 minutes to fly across.
4 and a half.
I think you said 6 at the UN, because I remember you said
Depends on
6 to fly. You said 6 to fly across the United States, 6 minutes across.
6 hours.
6 hours fly across the United States, 6 minutes to fly across.
Okay, we'll
Israel's what you told
compromise.
me.
5 and 5.
5.
5
Okay,
hours
good.
and
Well,
5 minutes,
I'll go
okay?
back and see who's
So
right.
Israel is the size of New Jersey, okay? Israel is the size of New Jersey. And just imagine that somebody says, we're going to drop atomic bombs on Newark or Hoboken or whatever. And you're gone.
You'd be done.
Or we'll bombard you with 20,000 ballistic missiles, each with a ton of TNT. It's like a bus full of TNT comes down from the skies at Mach 8 times the speed of sound. You know, that's terrible devastation.
Hypersonic
One is
missiles.
terrible devastation. 20,000, it's like 2 atomic bombs. So we could die this way or die that way. It's like having 2 lumps of cancer that are going to kill you. So we have to excise them in time.
Quite the way to put it.
Does that mean that the cancer can come back? Of course it can, and you have to make sure it doesn't. But if you don't act, you'll be dead. That's why we acted. But we acted against this enemy. We had to organize ourselves, you know, in a very sophisticated intel operation, cyber operation, air operation, and many other things that are combined in perhaps the most impressive use of wit and guts that we've seen in a long time. But we had a partner. We had a great partner. That's President Donald Trump.
People
Well.
think news just
Well, all right, then that was a lot going on in there. But yeah, I would say this. When it came to that Iran fight, well, the Iran-Israel 12-day war, they was going blow for blow. Like it's really hard to say who was winning. There was nobody winning. They were just both taking heavy